Let's take a look at this example so that we can start to understand cell anchoring. Here, I'm trying to calculate my sales based on a certain price per unit, which you see on the horizontal axis, and a certain number of units, which you'll see on the vertical axis. In this first example, I have several different unit prices, but only one number of units that I'm going to sell. I'll start right here with equals, and then a reference to this 1,000 units, and then I'll multiply that by $90 per unit. When I hit enter, I'm going to get $90,000, which is what I would expect. But now, if I copy and I paste this formula to the right, I'm going to have an issue because if I hit F2, you'll see that I am correctly referencing my $95 unit price, but instead of referencing the 1,000 number of units, I'm now referencing the $90,000 sales number in D4. The solution here is to go back into my cell D4, where I'm making this reference to 1,000 units. I'll hit the F4 key to lock it. When I lock it, you'll see that it creates a $sign before the C, my column, and a $sign before the 4, which is my row. If I hit enter, now if I select this range and Control R to fill right, or I could copy and paste my formula, you'll see all the way down in H4. If I hit F2, I'm still referencing that 1,000 units, so everything here is calculating correctly. Anchoring cells also works vertically, so here I only have one unit price of 90, but I have several different numbers of potential units sold. So here I'm going to say equals 90 multiplied by 1,000 units. And similarly, if I drag this down, I'm getting this error. If I hit F2, I'm referencing the right number of units, and that's sliding down correctly. But what's also sliding down is my reference to that $90, which is now $90,000, giving me this ridiculously large sales number. Similarly to above, I can go up here and I can lock my reference with F4 to $90. It locks the D, my column, and it locks the 7, my row. So now, when I highlight this range and hit Control D to fill down, that reference to 90 is anchored. This bottom example gets a little bit more complicated because my price per unit is changing, but also the number of units is changing with it. We know what's going to happen if I hit 90 times 1,000. As I move to the right, Control R, my price per unit seems to be shifting over correctly, but so is my number of units, and now I'm referencing sales, so I need to go in here, hit F2, and I need to lock that 1,000 so that it stops shifting over. So now, if I Control R, you'll see that even all the way here on the end, my price per unit is correctly shifting over as my cell moves, but the 1,000 is staying anchored. But this isn't quite the solution that we want, because if I go from here and I Control D to fill down, I get all kinds of problems, because now, not only am I still referencing 1,000 where I should be referencing 1,250, but also my price per unit is shifting down into my sales. So now instead of 110, I have 110,000, which is giving me these crazy numbers. So how do you fix that? The way that you fix this problem is through partial anchoring. And in order to do partial anchoring, you have to understand how anchoring works. I'm going to type equals, and now I'm going to make a reference to this 90 and nothing else. If I hit F4, I'm anchoring that column absolutely. If I hit enter, no matter where I move this all the way to the right, or if I fill down, all of these cells are now going to reference 90. Notice how there's a $sign in front of the D, which is my column, and there's a $sign in front of the 18, which is my row. If I hit F4 one more time, now the $sign in front of my D has disappeared, and there's only a $sign in front of the 18, the row. What this means now is that I've only locked row 18. Column D is free to shift, so if I hit enter, if I fill down, you'll see that my row does not change, and my row is locked in 18. But if I take these and I Control R to fill right, my column shifts. So even all the way over here, my row is still locked in 18, but my column has shifted as my cell has shifted. In a similar way, I can go over to this 1,000 and hit F4, and now that's absolute, so if I were to paste that all the way over here, it's still a reference to that same 1,000. I don't want an absolute anchor. I want to hit F4 one more time, and now you'll see that this is locked in row 19, which is not really helpful for me here, because even all the way down here, I'm still referencing 1000. That's not what I want. Instead, I'm going to undo that. So I've hit F4 twice. First, it was that absolute anchor. Now it's only anchoring my row. If I hit F4 one more time, you'll see that there's a $sign only in front of the C, my column. If I hit enter and I Control D to fill down, you'll see that my row shifts, which is exactly what I want. But if I highlight these and Control R to fill right, you'll see that my column is locked. For this example, what we want to calculate the correct sales numbers is we want our row locked for price per unit, and we want our column free for price per unit. And then you want the opposite for your number of units. You want the column locked, but you want each row free to shift. So let's create that formula. I'm going to type equals and then make a reference to my price per unit. I'm going to hit F4 once, and then I'm going to hit F4 one more time, and now I've locked row 18. Now I'm going to say times and make a reference to that 1000. I'm going to hit F4, F4, and one more time, and now I've locked column C. When I hit enter and then Control R, it looks like my price per unit is shifting effectively, but so far my number of units is locked. Now we want to see if my number of units shifts as I fill down, and it looks like it does. So even in this bottom corner, it looks like all of my price per unit numbers and my number of units have shifted correctly. Cell anchoring is one of the most important things that you're going to learn about Excel, and you're going to use it all the time.